In tonight's Outfront investigation, inside China's spy balloon making operations, 6 Chinese entities that make the balloons are now blacklisted by the U.S., one of them openly boasting about its, quote, killer capabilities. Another company's founder even on camera showing, his wares, pointing to a balloon flying over the United States. There's video of state media openly saying the spy balloons are used for military purposes. Our Selena Wang is out front.
They're hoisting the balloon up for a big moment. It's the maiden flight for China's first high-tech giant balloon. State TV says it's for both military and civilian use. If we can master this technology, the narrator says in this 2015 state media documentary, it might become the killer move in global competition. Fast forward to 2023.
Holy crap, they just shot it.
Now the world's attention is on China's balloons. The U.S. Commerce Department has blacklisted 6 entities tied to China's military aerospace programs from obtaining U.S. technology without government authorization. And the balloon launched in this documentary was made by one of the blacklisted entities, Beijing Nanjiang Aerospace Technology. We try to find the place. We've geolocated a possible address for one of its factories.
According to state media, they've got a balloon factory on the outskirts of Beijing, so we should be getting close now. This appears to be the exact spot from the state TV documentary. You can even see the same view of the mountain ranges behind me. But if you look here, it looks like there used to be buildings here, but now it's just this empty space, and there's this metal gate and barrier over this area. We actually spoke to multiple villagers around here. None of them had heard of a balloon factory in specific, but when we showed them the state TV documentary, they said it was definitely filmed in this area. And 2 of them said that they know several of the factories in recent years have been torn down.
We don't know if the balloon that was spotted over the U.S. this time around has anything to do with the 6 blacklisted companies. But Beijing Nanjiang Aerospace Technology's balloon has flown over the U.S. before, according to state media. In this 2019 state media video, a co-founder of the company, scientist Wu Ze, points to a computer screen showing the trajectory of an unmanned airship flying around the world. He says, look, this is the United States. Beijing claims the balloon that intruded U.S. airspace earlier this month was only for civilian research purposes, but U.S. intelligence officials claim the balloon is part of a fleet of Chinese surveillance balloons. The general manager of the Beijing-based balloon company told state media in 2015 that the balloons can be used for military purposes if they carry telecommunication or surveillance equipment on board. Scientist Wu Ze also founded Eaglesman Aviation Science and Technology Group, or EMSAT, another balloon maker on the U.S. blacklist. In this 2017 state media report on EMSAT, the anchor touts that these airships can carry a large number of detectors and communication equipment for surveillance or reconnaissance for both military and civilian use. CNN has reached out to all 6 Chinese entities for comment, but none have responded.
This balloon program is not just for surveillance, but also for strike. And the potential for dropping warheads, including hypersonic glide vehicles from high altitudes.
This week, Beijing has made accusations of its own, saying the U.S. has illegally flown balloons over Chinese airspace more than 10 times since last May, a claim the White House immediately denied.
There is no U.S. surveillance aircraft over in Chinese airspace.
The U.S. is now on high alert for airborne objects in its airspace, putting China's near-space ambitions on the world stage. Selena Wang, CNN, Beijing.
But Aaron, it's not just China that's developing this balloon technology. I spoke to Brendan Mulvaney. He's the director of the China Aerospace Studies Institute, and he said countries around the world are investing in this, including the U.S. It's seen a sort of resurgence, he said, because it's relatively cheap, can hover for a long period of time when surveilling, and it's harder to detect. But it is clear from our research that China has a growing interest in this area and sees the whole near-space arena as the next frontier for great power rivalry. Aaron.
All right, Selena, thank you very much. So much amazing detail and investigations there in her reporting. So let's go now to John Bolton, the former national security advisor under former President Trump, who will be briefed tomorrow by the Biden administration on these Chinese surveillance balloons. So Ambassador Bolton, you just heard Selena Wang's excellent piece here about these 6 blacklisted companies that have been at the heart of China's surveillance balloon ambitions. They've been touting this program on state media, as you saw. How concerned are you about what we're seeing from Beijing right now?
Well, I'm very concerned across the board. Certainly, the balloon surveillance issue is in the forefront of the news, but Chinese efforts across the board to gain intelligence, not just about the U.S. government, not just about our military capabilities, but of all aspects of American life, and their means and methods cover the fullest possible range. And I think Chinese aspirations are really global. It may look like they're seeking right now only, in quotes, only hegemony along their Indo-Pacific periphery, but I think they have global ambitions. I hope this balloon incident, however it turns out in specific, is something of a wake-up call for the American people and for our European friends as well, that China is the major threat we face in this century.
So the Biden administration says 3 balloons flew over the United States during the Trump administration and went undetected until recently. And today, John Kirby, who of course is the National Security Council spokesperson, was asked directly about comments that you recently made, sort of questioning that assessment. Here's what he said, Ambassador.
All we're doing is speaking the truth. The reason we know that is because of the work we've done since we came into office to better understand this program. And to try to do the kind of deep analytical work that needed to be done to decipher how these balloons operate.
Does this change your view? He says all we're doing is speaking the truth.
Look, the administration is shattering its credibility every time it puts another spokesman out to talk about what's happened over the past couple weeks. I mean, on the specific question, what happened in the Trump administration, I count 4 different stories. First, it was detected. Then it wasn't detected, but it was assessed incorrectly. And I mean, it just keeps going back and forth. The critical question here, and I'll ask about all this tomorrow.
Right,
I don't
know
know
you're
what
going to be
they'll tell
briefed by
me,
them tomorrow.
but I do plan to ask about it. But here's the key point, and this has now come out in the past couple days. It appears that the first balloon, which is the one we know is from China, we don't know where the other 3 came from, but that first balloon was detected by NORAD or somebody from the moment it was launched from Hainan Island, south of the Chinese mainland, meaning that we knew from the get-go that balloon was from China. And yet it was tracked and approached Alaska, where what the administration said first was it was detected just north of the Aleutian Islands. And yet if this information in all the major newspapers already is correct,
about Hainan Island,
they knew it was from China. Right,
okay.
They knew it was from China from the beginning. There's no excuse not to have shot that balloon down.
But what can I just ask to play devil's
territory.
advocate here? And maybe there is an excuse. Maybe the excuse is they wanted to observe it. They wanted to see where it went. They wanted to see how maneuverable it was. They wanted to see what was on board. They were going to jam it, right? All of that could be an excuse. Not an excuse. It could be an explanation, couldn't it?
Okay, let me ask you a few questions. Could they say with assurance that payload under the balloon, which they described as equivalent to 3 buses, did not contain a nuclear weapon?
Well, I certainly can't answer.
Could they say with certainty, yeah, that's right, and they can't either. Look, here's all you need to know.
I mean, that would be an incredible technology
to
be able to launch a nuke from a balloon, but...
You don't have to launch it, you just have to drop it.
Okay,
It
I'm not going to obviously not going to be able
pathogens
to
and
answer
toxins.
your specific questions, but do you open the door to the fact that they knew more about it than they've told us, which takes away the fact that they should have told us more, but that they knew more and that they made an intelligent assessment about what to do?
All I can do now is repeat what they have said. And the commander of NORAD said he made an assessment on first detection, and that's what they said on January the 28th, that the balloon did not demonstrate hostile intent. I would argue it demonstrated hostile intent from the moment we knew it came from China. Did we make an effort to call the Chinese and say, one of your balloons is heading toward us? If you have control over that balloon, turn it around, or we're going to shoot it down. Did we do that? Or did we just sit there with our thumb in our mouth watching it cross into American territory. I think this is very serious.
And it's going to be obviously crucial to see what you get briefed on tomorrow and what answers they do provide you to some of those questions that you have. Ambassador, thanks very much. I appreciate taking the time to speak to me.
Glad to be with you.